Loki episode 2, another good episode. Hi and welcome to my video, and today I'm going to be reviewing episode 2 of Loki and giving some of my general thoughts on the episode. And just like episode 1, this episode was really fun and funny, and overall this episode was just as good as the first one. I think they're on the same level, and this video will contain spoilers, so there's my spoiler warning. The episode starts with a fight scene to the song I Need a Hero, and yes, the Shrek movie was just playing through my mind the whole time. And then Loki and some of the TVA members show up to this Nexus event, and there's a girl there who speaks to them, and she looks just like Agatha Harkness. I don't know if it is her, could be. And I did really enjoy this opening scene. And before the TVA members patch up the timeline, reset it, Loki goes on some tangent, ranting about where there's wolf ears, there's wolf claws or teeth or something, just trying to stall. But obviously Mobius and the rest of the TVA are on a higher being, higher power than Loki, and they see how he works. They know that he's lying, so they do reset the timeline and then go back to the TVA. And most of this episode is just them at the TVA and Loki working kind of an office job where Mobius makes him look through all the other case files on the other variant Lokis to see if there's anything he can decipher, like, oh, where might the variant Loki be? And Loki discovers where the variant Loki is hiding. He's hiding in apocalypse, like natural disasters, where whatever chaos the variant Loki causes, it won't create a new timeline because the event just gets wiped out and the timeline just ceases to exist where everyone perishes. Which leads to Loki trying to explain his discovery, where he takes Mobius' salad and just pours a bunch of salt and pepper and then someone's drink over it, which leads them to go into Pompeii to prove Loki's theory. And then Loki just makes an ass of himself, falling around. The volcano explodes and people die, but it doesn't create a new timeline. There's no variant signal, and so it proves Loki's theory that the variant Loki is hiding in these apocalypses. In this episode there is more of that philosophical debate going on, free will versus determinism, and there is a conversation between Mobius and Loki, and Mobius has this one like kind of mindset where it is all determinism, like he accepts the fate of the timekeepers, like what they have given him, whereas Loki's just like, no, I don't believe that. I believe we do have something to say in it. And he says that no one bad is truly bad and no one good is truly good, which does kind of like, that's Loki. He's not truly bad or truly good. The Avengers aren't truly good. Kind of like the Zemo mindset there as well.
You see, I know something children don't.
What's that?
That no one bad is ever truly bad. And no one good is ever truly good.
Despite Mobius being this set person who agrees with the timekeepers, he also kind of like exhibits free will himself. I mean, he's kind of obsessed with the 90s. He's drinking drinks from it. He's got his jet ski magazine. And if he doesn't end up riding a jet ski by the end of this series, I'm going to be really disappointed. I mean, they set that up for him to be riding a jet ski. He can. I mean, there can just be one place where he can. But apparently if he does ride a jet ski, then that's going to like mess up the timeline. It's going to create a new timeline. And I understand that there needs to be exposition. Obviously, you need to explain things. You need to set things up. And like with this series, they are like, there is a lot of time explaining things, but how they're doing it is like fun. Obviously Loki himself knows nothing about the TVA, and us as audiences who haven't read the comics don't know anything about the TVA, so us getting our information about it is from Loki learning about it as well. So I think it is a really fun idea, a fun way of how they explain how things work. Whereas with like WandaVision, we were still confused like every episode. We didn't really know what was going on. We didn't know how this hex is the hex. But I really like how Loki is doing it. Obviously it could be boring just sitting around talking, but I find it really interesting. And those interesting conversations lead to a lot of the philosophical conversations, which I am interested in as well. I love a lot about free will and determinism. And I really like the tone of this show, like the conversations it's having with free will, determinism, timekeepers, sacred timelines. And so yeah, Loki discovers that the variant Loki is hiding in these apocalypses, and so him and Mobius need to find a way to tie in like a specific one where the variant Loki is hiding in. And Mobius remembers the sweet kablooey, I think it is, or something from the first episode. Well, I like how that ties in again. And they discover the specific event that the variant Loki is hiding in, and then they go there to try and confront him. At this variant Loki location, there is a lot of stuff that goes down, and it is funny and it is interesting. There's kind of like a Loki standoff between the one from Avengers and then the variant Loki, and I liked everyone who played like that variant Loki where it switches between different bodies. And there's a really weird fight between Loki, the Loki of the show, and then variant Loki, and he hits him with a hoover and it doesn't really go down that well. But eventually the variant Loki takes off like the control, takes off like the mask, and it's a female Loki. what, we're getting a woman Loki? And we know from like the first episode on like he's on the variant Loki's file, it says that he's gender fluid. So it makes sense that there is a female Loki, and I hope it is like that's the last like variant Loki we'll have, like we'll just see that variant as a woman. And so we have the reveal of like the threat, like the enemy, the villain of this show, female Loki, but we don't really know what her plan is. We don't really know what she's trying to get at, but we see like that plan in motion. We see a bunch of different like time reset bombs, which are supposed to, in that Nexus event, just reset the damage that the variant caused, but she ends up sending loads of them through different time doors to different locations, different timelines, or creating different timelines, but they're ones that there is no Nexus event, there is no variance going on there. So what is it going to erase?
Somebody just bombed the sacred timeline.
It's creating chaos, it's creating confusion, it's creating madness, a multiverse of madness. And back at the TVA we see there's a screen with like these different timelines being created, and once your timeline reaches the red line, nothing can undo it, it can't be reset, and chaos ensues. And like that in itself, just that idea of all these different timelines branching out, almost reaching the red line, like it sends people into a frenzy. Of course the TVA, they gear up, they set into motion, gotta try and reset these timelines, see what's going on. But then back at like the location, which is just like a big supermarket, Lady Loki opens up a time door and she's just like, yeet, see ya, bye bye. And then you have Loki and Mobius trying to run and catch up to him, saying, no, don't go, Loki, wait. And you kind of see a little hesitation with Loki. He's like looking back at the time door like, do I follow Lady Loki or do I stick with Mobius? And he does eventually go through the time door following Lady Loki. That's obviously the more interesting path to take. You've just met this variant who claims to be better than you. You want to find out and see if she actually is. And Loki's plan is to like meet the timekeepers, kill them, and like overtake the TVA. And obviously he was trying to do that with Mobius, but Mobius is like, nah honey, that's not going to happen. And so obviously following Lady Loki is the more interesting choice. And obviously I feel bad for Mobius, he's going to get blamed for that. The idea of a female Loki, Lady Loki, is really interesting, but I really hope she doesn't kind of like dominate the series. I still hope like the Loki we know, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, is more of like the focus, the dominant figure in the show. And is it just me, or are the timekeepers really suspicious? I mean, the conversation that Mobius has with, I can't remember her name, but the judge from the first episode, like she seems really suspicious to me. Like her workings with the timekeepers, like the vibe she's giving off just seems really off. And I think people are confusing plurals. I feel like they say the timekeeper or timekeepers, so is it one, is it three, do they even exist? Also, they find a TVA member that Lady Loki kidnaps, and she's kind of like having a mental breakdown, rocking back and forth, repeating that it's real, it's all real, I told her where the timekeepers are. And I don't really know what that's about, but I just remembered watching a fan theory where someone thinks that everyone who works at the TVA were once variants themselves, but they've been like brainwashed, mind controlled, and now work for the TVA. And that does kind of make a lot of sense. Throughout the episode, Loki keeps saying like those missed minute videos, they're propaganda, it's all propaganda that is trying to brainwash them, and he doesn't want to be brainwashed. And it does kind of make sense. Like imagine if those TVA members were once real, and maybe that explains Mobius's obsession with the 90s, all the 90s stuff, and wanting to ride a jet ski, because like they shouldn't have those feelings. And maybe he's kind of like coming around that he is a real person, like he wasn't created by like the timekeepers, by the TVA. He was once a real person, a real variant person. Overall, I did really like this episode, and I do really like the show so far. I'm excited for where it's going. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more. Bye!